Thanks for joining, media. You can start raising your hand. For those of you joining for the first time, click chat and then the raise hand function. That'll indicate to me to call on you. Tonight we'll hear from head coach Derek Fisher, Chelsea Gray, Taya Cooper, and Nneka Ogwumike. In this Zoom call, Candace Parker will also be doing her interview on SportsCenter. We'll start with Adam Grossbart, LA Daily News.
Hey, Derek. Chelsea and Taya really provided strong bursts there in the second half. How did they help the team, overcome the deficit and then hold on for the win?
Yeah, I mean, I think that both players got our defense going a little bit. We were, understandably fatigued and just not playing with the level of energy and force in the first half that we have been previously. It's obviously been a challenging week and obviously the last few days, and we hadn't played a game since Sunday, and you could tell. And so I thought that both Coop and Chelsea defensively got us going in the game. Chelsea actually ended up sliding over to DeWanna Bonner. Coop came in and was able to get some activity going on the basketball and just being disruptive. And we feel like that really turned the game, and then the offense started to come along after that.
Sukni, you in LA Times.
Coach, speaking kind of to that, you mentioned just the fatigue. What impressed you about the way your players were able to go out there and perform even after a difficult emotional week and pull out this win in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, no, I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to explain in as many words as possible, how honored I am to work with them and for them, because that was not easy to do. Considering not just everything that they've been managing and trying to figure out coming into this season, and what all women are fighting for. So they carried that into when we got here July the 6th. And that's been heavy. And then when you add what's been going on the last week, that for a lot of us took us over the top. And for them to be able to somehow find a way to channel the energy and the commitment to each other to just figure out a way to win this game as a team, it just says a lot about who they are as people. And that's what we're trying to build here. Like we're fortunate to be able to work with great basketball players, but we're looking for great women, great leaders, people that want to make a difference and have an impact. And we have a locker room full of those kind of people. And, they cared about each other, and they wanted to win the game, even though they had all the room not to win and not to play well. So it was truly an amazing effort. And again, I'm thankful that, we get a chance to coach this specific group.
Doug Feinberg, Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, there's the great things you're saying about your team and everything, but what about you? I mean, you're going through this also. You're a black male. You obviously, I'm sure, saw videos and such. I mean, how are you doing, and how did you get through coaching this game tonight?
It's a good question. I feel like, the grace of God, one. Two, because my job is to figure it out for these women, and so even though I personally am struggling with many things, my family not being here, not having seen my kids, my fiance, my family, it's just not easy. But when these ladies made the commitment to be here, I made that commitment right along with them. And, there's a lot that comes with being in this position. And, there's a lot to try and manage. And I'm thankful for this opportunity, but it's not easy to try to put this face on at times and try to, say the right thing and do the right thing, because that's what you're supposed to do. And, you know, the main thing I'm just trying to do is respect the fact that it's really about our players. And, you know, I'll have the opportunity to talk about my personal experience or what it is that I'm feeling, but that in no way is supposed to take away from Jacob Blake and his family, Michelle Clouseau and her family, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor. Um, what I may be going through is irrelevant and doesn't even pale in comparison to what so many others are experiencing. And so I just give all thanks and glory to God, and I'm thankful to be here and try to do the best job I can under the circumstances. And counting the days in a good way, though. I miss my kids, and you know, I miss my family. I can't wait to see them soon enough when we complete this mission.
Two more for Coach Michelle Vopel, ESPN.
First off, Coach, I thought it was a beautiful answer. I really did. And I admire you for what you're doing and what you're saying about the players and your commitment to them. I just wanted to say that to you. With Nneka in particular, she's had so much on her shoulders, you know, maybe more than any WNBA player in her role as executive committee president. And I just wonder if you could talk about what she's balanced as doing that role, and then, you know, as a obviously a major contributor to your team.
Yeah, she and I, we chuckle every now and then about it because I served for many years as president of the Players Association on the men's side, and there are times where we just look each other in the eye, and she could tell that I know what she's going through, and she could tell that I remember what it felt like to be in her position. And it's hard to explain to people that haven't been in that seat before how challenging it is for Nneka to do what she's doing. She is 1,000% committed to every player here. Obviously, we benefit from her commitment to the players because as coaches and staff, we don't have jobs if they're not here. So her commitment to everybody else is second to none. But somehow she still finds a way, and she still has the character, integrity, and strength, I think, that comes from just her family, her life experience, her belief system, to still find ways to perform well, you know, when everybody else needs her to. And she doesn't even do it for herself. It's like the team needs her to do it, and she just does it. And there's a very specific reason why she is the one that's in the position that she is. People that are wired a certain way are the only ones that can do it. And she's doing it at a really high level. And just in getting to know Nneka over the last, you know, year and a half, I guess close to 2 now, it's just been an unbelievable joy to work with her and for her. And this league is lucky to have her. These players are lucky to have her. And of course, here at the Sparks, you know, we've known for a long time how lucky we are to have her on our side.
Last question for Coach Pavy, H&B Media.
Hey, Coach. In a season that's unlike any other, I think in league history, can you just talk about the bond that you all share? I know it has to be something special, you know, all being out there together and, you know, going through this as a unit.
I feel like I heard the question in terms of the bond that, you know, we have 20 family members here representing the Sparks. And, you know, we have many that are back in LA that are obviously part of our extended family. But, you know, we definitely have our bubble family here, and it has created, I think, a bond, which is difficult to do in the world that we live in right now. Like, things are designed to keep us separate, right? To keep us apart. And even when you're on the same team, outside noise, people outside the locker room, outside the organization, people that don't represent the same things as you, find ways to break you apart. You have to let them do that, but they're still at it. And our family here, I think because of the common experience, like I can look at everyone here, they can look at me here and know that we're making very similar sacrifices just to be here. And so I think that gives us a common purpose, a common sense of togetherness that in LA, it's hard to replicate. Before games and after games, we're together. We go to COVID testing, we're together. We ride the bus to the game together, the bus back together. A lot of times we're eating after the game together. Like there are just so many more things that are keeping those bonds and connections that otherwise wouldn't exist. And you never want to say that this is necessarily positive because really bad things are happening in the world that even forced us to be here. However, the people that are here, and especially for the Sparks, we're just doing the best we can to respect the fact that there are girls and women of color, Black men, Black families, families of color that don't even get an opportunity to go to work today, don't even have a job, got turned down for the job because of the color of their skin, got fired from the job because of their hair, got the police called on them trying to get a cup of coffee because they looked suspicious. So for us, like, we know that we're representing more than just our team, basketball. It's bigger than that. And that bond, I think, is what's holding us together. Even when I want to cry, somebody else here wants to cry and just let it all out. Being able to look at somebody else here knowing that they're going through the same thing, that's what's keeping us together.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Congrats. Well worth it. All right, questions for Chelsea Gray. We'll start with David Yapkowitz, next Hoops.
Hey, Chelsea. It seems like, even going back before, you guys got to the bubble, that, you as professional athletes, that you've really become, leaders, in this country in terms of advocating for change and for social justice, whether it's fair or not, to place that responsibility, on your guys' shoulders. Just, what's that feeling like, knowing that, a lot of people just are kind of looking towards you guys to kind of be that voice?
I think this season, a lot more than others. Excuse me, I lost my voice a little bit in the game. But definitely this season, we're playing for a bigger purpose. Obviously, we have Breonna Taylor's name on our back, but it's a lot bigger than us. And we think that, the weight is heavy for us. Imagine those families that won't have a chance to talk to their daughter again, to talk to their son, cousin, uncle, whatever the case may be. Somebody's situation is a lot worse than yours. And we have to get outside of ourselves and understand that.
Doug Feinberg, AP.
Hey, Chelsea.
What up, Doug?
I guess you picked the wrong night to do the assess thing. You should have done a points thing tonight, right? I mean,
man, I'm just like, come on, man. I need to get more assists, but it's all right. It's all right.
A win's a win. So I asked Coach how he was doing. I mean, he said some glowing things about you guys, and obviously there was emotions tonight and everything. He said he talked to you for a while after the game. My question, and do you guys check in on him? I mean, he's a Black male. Obviously, you've seen the videos, everything's going on. I know you guys are a family, but do you guys say, hey, how are you doing in this whole bubble and mess that's going on?
We're having tough conversations. He's always said, and he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, where when we come into that huddle and it's just us, it's a place, a safe space to be able to say how you're feeling, supporting each other and allowing each other to be vulnerable. I think that's been the biggest thing that he's been stressing, and him being able to communicate that and just checking on him, making sure that he's good, no matter what, whether it be having a hot meal, because it's in the hotel, and some of that feeling of being at home. That's been the kind of way I've been checking up on him. Hopefully I cook him something tomorrow. But just having that relationship that, at one point or another, you're going to look to your left or right and be like, yeah, I need you tonight, or I need you today. And being able to go to the person next to you and have those conversations.
Lindsay Gibbs, Power Plays.
Hey, I'm just wondering, Wednesday when you all arrived at the game site, obviously the Dream and the Mystics were already talking. What were those conversations like as you all were trying to figure out as a group what to do that evening?
We wanted everybody's voice to be heard, pros and cons of not playing. There's going to be pros and cons of playing, pros and cons of not playing. It's just we had to come to consensus, and I think that we were able to do that on the court. And everybody be able to talk to their individual teams and then talk as a league. Whatever the decision we were going to come up with, it was going to be one that we did all together. And we've always prided ourselves on that. And solidarity, we wanted to support the Milwaukee Bucks in their decision. And then also take yesterday as a time of reflection and a time to be vulnerable, like within yourself, within your team, within your friends, family, and take those times. But when we walked on the court on Wednesday, we just wanted to open it up and explain what was going on, what was the situation, and allow others and different people to voice their opinions on what they wanted to do, how they were feeling. And we came to the decision to not play.
John W. Davis, Winsider.
Hey, Chelsea, congratulations on the game tonight. Wanted to ask you how important or, what benefit has it been to have family with you inside the bubble with everything going on?
It's extremely important. My wife is with me. And that was like coming to the bubble, that was kind of a non-negotiable for me to be able to have her here. She's my rock. She's been able to, I come home from a loss and she's right there listening to me complain about what I could have done better. But also just like when we see these videos, like I look to my right and she's right there. And that's huge for me. Off the court, on the court, seeing her at every game is important. But just to have that person together, we didn't want to be separate at this time with COVID and with everything going on in this world with killings of Black and brown people. It's scary that I won't be able to get to her or her get to me at any point. And I think it was important for us to be together. And so it's helping with this bubble situation.
Last question for Chelsea, Louisa Thomas, the New Yorker.
Obviously one of the things that was so powerful about Wednesday night was not just that the Bucks decided not to play, but that there was a ripple effect. Obviously, you guys have been at this for a really long time, and other athletes were, participating. And I was wondering what kind of conversations you were having, not with other WNBA players, but with other athletes, or what other conversations you were hearing about with either NBA players or players in other sports, or even people who are not in season. Like, what kind of broader conversations with athletes were you having, if any?
Just tired of saying the same thing and understand it's a human issue. I was able to talk to one today that's in the NBA bubble, and they were on the phone battling stuff that was going back in the city that they were playing in. And just on those phone calls, like just upset at the realization that some people just don't understand or just don't try to educate themselves to understand of what they can do. Or it just boggles my mind that people are okay with what's happening. It's a lot bigger than ourselves. And my heart goes out to the families, honestly. But I'm able to have those tough conversations with people outside of my team to understand that we're not alone in this bubble. People are going through certain things. They're doing their fight as well. And I'm okay with that. And we're planting new seeds so the next generation, can reap the benefits.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Hey, Taya.
Hey.
All right, questions for Taya Cooper. Start with Chris Camello.
Taya, you got every reason to dance. Bust a move right there. I mean, that was.
I know y'all can see me.
Yeah, no, we can. Congrats on a very impressive win, and obviously you were the spark, no pun intended, for getting this team back on track tonight after kind of a slow start. How good did this win feel? Not just that you contributed, but that everything that you and your and everyone in the WNBA and beyond had gone through this week to get?
I think this was it was just a good moment, after such bad news just keep coming in, and it was really emotional, and it was a tough time for everybody here, and just to be here and be able to get the win during a time like this, it was big for us, and especially with having all those days off and coming right into playing, that was a big step for us to be able to just lock in and have each other back. So I think that was a great win for us.
Ari Jones Jr., LA Sentinel.
What's going on, Tia? Congrats on the win tonight. Can you speak on being around a bunch of women and that's making their voices be heard and making changes?
Really, just being around Nneka. Nneka is a phenomenal person, woman, teammate, sister. She really goes above and beyond to hear everybody out. She's a wonderful president. Candace, Chelsea, everybody, Simone. They're just wonderful people, and they really set the tone, and they're great leaders, and they really are affecting the youth and everybody that's younger than them. And I just hope that they keep continuing to do what they're doing and stay on the path that they're on, because it's change is coming, and it's great to be something to be a part of and be on board with them and be around to witness how they're setting the table for us to learn from. So it's a wonderful experience for me to be around people like that.
Tukni New in LA Times.
Hey, Taya, Nneka called yesterday a day of reflection, a moment of reflection. What did you reflect on personally during that, that little break that you guys had?
Honestly, I think that, being in those meetings and, hearing the what can we do? What can we say? What can we do? How can we help? Really just thinking about things that I can do to affect somebody else's life, and just, in a time like this where it's just hard. It's just hard for everybody. It's bad days are just equaling up, and, just being there for people, and how could I help personally to other people that's here and not here, and just affect somebody's life individually. And hearing the options that they're doing as a whole, I really just reflected on what I could do to help somebody else.
Last question for Taya, David Yapkowitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually didn't have the hand was up from before. I'm sorry.
All good. We'll go to Adam Grossbard. Last question, LA Daily News.
Taya, after, just such a difficult couple of days for the league and for, the country as a whole, was there any comfort in returning to the basketball court today?
I think it is. I mean, I think our peace and our space away from everything is the basketball court. It's kind of like our sanctuary, where we just, we can just be there and not hear everything else that's happening out in the outside world. So I think it was a good moment for us to just, be out there and just enjoy that moment and not deal with everything else that's going on, and just have that little break of mental stability, really.
Thank you so much, Taya.
Thank you.
All right, questions for Nneka Ogwumike. We'll start with Michelle Vopel, ESPN.
Nick, I asked Coach Fisher about this, just the way you have balanced so much. I mean, it can almost be in the same year you had a CBA, it seems like but this has all happened in 2020, a pandemic, racial injustice. There's a lot emotionally you've had to go through just as a Black woman while being a leader in this league. Where do you sort of find the strength for that, to do that while you're still playing at the highest level of basketball?
To be honest, actually, Fish is probably the best person to ask that, because he used to also hold this role. I really find strength in my team and these women that are here in the bubble with me. I will say, Michelle, that it was much harder doing this job while I was quarantined alone in my house than it is now with my team, my Sparks family, and of course, all of the players here kind of in arm's reach in Florida. And so I really do my best to remain balanced. I mostly know when to kind of set a boundary, but I also realize the importance of my role. And I I can't forgo that. You know, that's always going to weigh on my mind. A lot of times that imbalance comes when I feel as though I'm not doing enough. But having everybody here physically is certainly helpful. We communicate, get things done better, and we get to see each other's faces and understand that we're in this together.
Doug Feinberg, AP.
Hey, Nneka. I got a two-part question. You've put on such a strong face for the last couple of days when you've been doing Sports Center and such. How draining has this been for you over the last 48 hours? Is the first part.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so I was really tired yesterday by the time I got home, but it wasn't the exhausted type of tired. It was just the, hey, this was a full day, but it was still incredibly insightful. It was reflective. It was fruitful in so many ways because, you know, there was a lot of historical occurrences in the last 48 hours, you know, getting to the arena, you know, talking with ATL and DC and Minnie about not just whether we're going to play, what it means to us, how we're being affected by what's happening right now, how we're finally able to express how we feel about what we've always experienced. You know, it's not limited by any means to 2020 as far as racial injustice goes, and that turning into a vigil where we had several players and coaches there. But what was so wonderful about it was that we had several coaches come out and speak. And that was very moving. And then having an in-person all-player meeting was helpful too, leading up to a day of reflection and hopefully creating more actionable items for us to, like I said, recommit ourselves to what we're here for, because we know that we can't do this without our platform. So I was tired because it was a full day, but not because I'm tired of what I'm doing.
The second part of the question, I asked Coach how he's doing. I mean, he said some glowing things about you guys and coming back to play today, and obviously the energy wasn't there early on, but just he was so proud of you. He's a black man. He sees the videos. He obviously knows what's going on. What do you guys do to sort of lift him up in a sense? Because, I mean, he's affected by this as much as anybody else is.
You know, I think one thing that we're learning about Fish is that he was certainly raised in a different basketball era than we were. And I don't say that to mean that it's because he played in the NBA. I say that to mean because, you know, the coaching style and just the team styles were different. And he expressed to us even that it wasn't customary for a coach to kind of get personal with the team. And we can see glimpses of him opening himself up to us as a person. Now, granted, you know, he's still the coach and we always respect that, but in moments, we have lighthearted moments, we laugh, we joke, and I feel as though those might be the moments I hope that he captures and cherishes as those moments that you'll never forget. And then, of course, when we play out there, it's not about the tangible statistical things that you see out there. It's about how we get through adversity, how we stick together, how we communicate. And I'm hoping that we offer some type of solace in all of this, because he is very much directly affected by this. He's a black man in America. And sometimes I wonder if I should ask him about it. And maybe you've put the thought in my mind to just ask him about it directly. But I also realize that everybody kind of has their own way of dealing with things. And he's always opened up the conversation to talking about more than just what we're playing on the court.
Lindsay Gibbs.
When you were arriving, you mentioned Wednesday and arriving at the, I don't know what to call the where you play, the court site at IMG, and DC and Atlanta talking. Did you, when you were commuting over, were you expecting to play that night? Like, what was your mindset? And then, you know, as the president of the Players Association, how did you kind of approach that conversation that was already in place by the time, you know, the Sparks arrived to the arena, to the site?
Yeah, to be honest, I was actually on the phone 2 hours up until I had to get on the bus, discussing players' qualms about playing and players' convictions about why that was so important to them. We, as WNBA players, as women who play basketball, we're always in the grind. And whether or not we were going to play, we were still going to assume our responsibility and get on the bus, get ready for the game. And when we got to the gym, you know, we always operate on the fly. That's just kind of how it always is. It's not to say that, you know, I knew for sure that I was going to play the game, but I did understand that there were conversations being had and there were certain things that may need to be said or have done, whether we play or not. And we're just so used to walking into unknown situations that it was just kind of another day in the life, really. But what was most notable about arriving at the arena, not quite being sure if we were going to play, was that people were heard, people were communicated with, we banded together, we collaborated, we communicated, and whether everyone agreed or not, we still came to a decision to do things in unity and to figure out how we could move forward from there. So that's kind of what my experience was arriving at the arena. And I'm sure that there's going to be more instances in which it's going to be some decision that needs to be made on the fly, but we just got to do it together.
Last question for tonight, Terrence Harris.
Hey, Nneka, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, I just wanted to ask you, can you talk about why it's important for the WNBA to be a part of this movement and this moment and what it feels like to be a part of this?
To be honest, I think it's most important for people to pay attention to what we're doing and to do their research and educate themselves about the history of us, this not being new to us. I've said this before, our movement has met its moment. And to talk about what's happening now as something that we are a part of, in a lot of ways, discounts what we've already done leading up into this point. But it's unique circumstances that has allowed us to organize and mobilize in incredible ways that we may not have envisioned before. And with that, we understand that what we're doing now exists within us, and being able to execute is also something that exists. And so we find our place in this historical moment as very much fitting in, and also ensuring that we are not forgotten and who we're representing is not forgotten either.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.